The discovery of penicillin is one of the most monumental events in medical history, saving millions of lives and transforming the course of modern medicine. However, behind the breakthrough lies a story filled with controversy, missed opportunities, and dark moments. This is not the tale of a single stroke of genius, but of a series of accidents, coincidences, and scientific battles that would ultimately lead to the development of the world's first true antibiotic. It all started in 1928, when a Scottish bacteriologist named Alexander Fleming returned from a summer holiday to find something strange in his laboratory. He had been working with colonies of bacteria, but one petri dish in particular caught his attention. It was covered in mold, but the most bizarre thing was what surrounded the mold. The bacteria around it had been killed. Fleming, intrigued, realized that the mold was producing something powerful. Little did he know, this accidental discovery would change the world forever. But before we get too excited, let's pause for a moment. The fact that the world was on the brink of such a medical revolution didn't mean the story was all smooth sailing. In fact, it was a turbulent journey that almost didn't happen at all. At first, Fleming didn't see the full potential of what he had found. He dubbed the mold Penicillium and confirmed that it could kill a wide variety of bacteria, but he wasn't able to isolate it in a way that would make it useful for humans. His discovery seemed to be just another interesting lab finding that might be left behind in the annals of scientific curiosity. As the years went by, the world continued to suffer from deadly bacterial infections that couldn't be treated effectively. Infections that would have been minor today were still killing people at an alarming rate. Penicillin, which could have been the answer, was just sitting there on Fleming's shelves, waiting to be developed. The world would have to wait, too, for other brilliant minds to pick up where Fleming left off. Yet, the true breakthrough would not come from Fleming alone. Now, imagine this. Fleming's lab was just a small corner of the scientific world, and his discovery might have faded into obscurity if not for the intervention of two brilliant scientists, Sir Howard Florey and Sir Norman Heatley. These men took Fleming's discovery seriously, realizing the potential of penicillin in fighting infections. However, there was a massive issue. They couldn't produce it in large enough quantities to test it on humans. Their work was stalling, and it seemed that the potential of penicillin was slipping away once again. But then, in a turn of fate, the United States entered the picture. World War II was raging, and the demand for medical solutions to treat soldiers' infections was critical. The US government, seeing the promise of penicillin, decided to fund the research and development of mass production methods. But even this would not be a smooth process. The development of penicillin required vast amounts of resources, and the process to scale it up was far from easy. By now, you might be wondering, how did we go from a single petri dish of mold to the widespread use of penicillin? It was a combination of clever techniques and scientific determination. The United States enlisted the help of companies to start mass-producing penicillin. The first major breakthrough came in 1941, when scientists managed to increase the yield of penicillin dramatically, creating enough to treat patients in need. But even then, the story wasn't over. And now, before we dive deeper into the twists and turns of the penicillin story, I want to ask you to take a quick moment. If you're enjoying these fascinating insights into the dark and mysterious side of medical history, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join the Surprise Insights family. We bring you the stories you won't find in textbooks, the stories that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew. So, don't miss out. Subscribe now, and let us take you on more incredible journeys like this one. Back to our story. By 1944, penicillin was saving lives, and its use was becoming widespread, especially during World War II, where it was credited with saving countless soldiers who would otherwise have succumbed to simple infections. The mass production of penicillin meant that wounds that were once deadly were now treatable. But even in the face of this success, there were still many who believed that Fleming, Florey, and Heatley had not fully understood the implications of their discovery. The development of penicillin came with its own set of dark secrets, from exploitation to dangerous shortcuts in its production. In the rush to produce more of the life-saving drug, some ethical lines were crossed. In fact, the global race to create and distribute penicillin led to the exploitation of people in developing countries, where the drug was tested without proper ethical oversight. These dark chapters of penicillin's history are often left out of the celebrated narrative we know today. Even after its introduction to the world, penicillin was not without controversy. There were accusations of patenting and profiteering, with some arguing that the mass production of penicillin was driven more by profit motives than by humanitarian concerns. The pharmaceutical companies involved in penicillin's mass production were making huge profits, while the people who had done the most difficult scientific work were often left in the shadows. The story of penicillin is, in many ways, a reminder that even the greatest discoveries often come with a price. But despite these shadows, penicillin undeniably reshaped modern medicine. It became the first antibiotic, and its success paved the way for the development of other life-saving drugs. The world had finally entered the age of antibiotics, where bacterial infections no longer meant certain death. Yet, the dark side of its discovery serves as a reminder that science is rarely a clean story, and every breakthrough has its complications. It's important to recognize that the discovery of penicillin was not an isolated incident. It was part of a much larger context of scientific exploration and technological advancement that was taking place in the early 20th century. The world was changing rapidly, and penicillin was a part of that transformation. But even as it revolutionized medicine, it also highlighted the tensions between science, ethics, and commercial interests. As we continue to examine the story of penicillin, we see how it has shaped the trajectory of modern medicine and how it continues to influence the field of microbiology and pharmacology. The story is far from over, as we now face the troubling rise of antibiotic resistance. The very drug that once seemed like a miracle is now facing challenges that threaten its effectiveness. But that's a story for another time. For now, let's pause and reflect on the incredible journey of penicillin, from the serendipitous mold in Fleming's lab to its widespread use across the globe. It's a testament to human ingenuity, perseverance, and the willingness to confront the shadows that often accompany scientific discovery. And with that, we are just getting started. Stay tuned for more twists, turns, and hidden details as we dive deeper into the dark story behind one of medicine's greatest achievements. The journey of penicillin didn't end with its widespread use in the mid-20th century. In fact, as it saved millions of lives, it also set the stage for a new and dangerous problem: antibiotic resistance. What was once considered a miracle drug began to lose its effectiveness, as bacteria evolved and adapted to resist it. By the 1950s, scientists were already seeing strains of bacteria that were no longer susceptible to penicillin, and this phenomenon would continue to grow in the decades to come. This battle between antibiotics and bacteria has become a major global health issue, with antibiotic-resistant infections now posing a serious threat to public health. The overuse and misuse of antibiotics, particularly in farming and hospitals, have accelerated this problem. Today, many of the very drugs that were once seen as miracle cures are no longer as effective, and researchers are scrambling to develop new antibiotics to combat these resistant strains. Penicillin's legacy is now intertwined with the urgent need for innovation in the field of medicine. But the story doesn't stop there. The discovery of penicillin not only changed the medical landscape, but it also had a profound impact on the global economy. The pharmaceutical industry, which was already growing in importance during the early 20th century, saw a dramatic shift as penicillin became one of its most important products. The drug became a multi-billion-dollar industry, with the major pharmaceutical companies battling for dominance in the market. This created a ripple effect, influencing everything from global trade to international relations, as countries fought for access to the life-saving drug. As penicillin revolutionized medicine, it also sparked an ethical debate that continues to this day. The question of who owns a discovery like penicillin, and who gets to profit from it, remains a contentious issue. While Fleming, Florey, and Heatley are rightfully celebrated for their work, many argue that the commercial interests that followed overshadowed the true purpose of the drug: to save lives. The debate over patenting, pricing, and accessibility continues to shape the way we approach the development and distribution of medical treatments. It's also important to remember the people who were directly impacted by penicillin during its early years. In many cases, the drug was used as a lifeline for soldiers during World War II, helping to save the lives of countless men who would have otherwise succumbed to infection. But the true scale of its impact on everyday people is only now becoming clear, as historians uncover the untold stories of those who benefited from penicillin in the early days of its use. The drug didn't just save soldiers, it saved mothers, fathers, children, and the elderly from otherwise fatal diseases. Despite all the dark corners of its history, penicillin remains one of the greatest achievements of modern medicine. It's a symbol of human resilience, a reminder of how science can overcome even the most daunting challenges. But it's also a cautionary tale. As we look at the rise of antibiotic resistance, we are reminded of the delicate balance between scientific progress and the ethical responsibility that comes with it. The legacy of penicillin is a lesson in both triumph and caution. As we look to the future, the story of penicillin reminds us that the work is far from over. With the rise of new bacterial threats and the looming challenge of antibiotic resistance, the quest for new treatments is more urgent than ever. Scientists around the world are working tirelessly to find the next breakthrough in antibiotic development, but the shadow of penicillin looms large. Will we learn from the mistakes of the past, or will history repeat itself? The discovery of penicillin changed the world, but it also changed the way we think about science, medicine, and human progress. It's a story of mistakes and triumphs, of moral dilemmas and ethical questions, and of the relentless pursuit of knowledge. Penicillin's legacy is a testament to the power of science, but also a reminder that every great discovery comes with its own set of challenges. As we conclude the tale of penicillin, let's take a moment to appreciate how far we've come, and how far we still need to go. The discovery of penicillin was just the beginning of the journey, and we are only beginning to understand its full impact on human health. We must continue to ask the tough questions, challenge the status quo, and strive for solutions that can save lives. After all, in the world of science, the darkest stories often lead to the brightest breakthroughs. So, while penicillin's discovery may seem like a victory for science, it's important to remember that the road to progress is never smooth. There are always hidden stories, ethical dilemmas, and unforeseen consequences. But without them, we would never move forward. It's these dark, complex stories that shape the world of science and medicine, reminding us of the incredible potential and the incredible responsibility that comes with discovery. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the dark story behind the discovery of penicillin. If you're fascinated by stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to Surprise Insights for more incredible tales of the mysteries and secrets that shaped our world. This is just the beginning, and there's so much more to uncover. Stay tuned for the next chapter in the world of surprises, because the best is yet to come.